Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, thank you for coming on tonight. I want to hit two issues with you tonight. President Biden's immigration radicalism and China. And I want to start with China first because we have limited time. This is what Biden said about China 18 months ago versus today.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They're not bad folks. Last night, I was on the phone for 2 straight hours with Xi Jinping. We don't get moving, they're going to eat our lunch.
Which is it, Mr. Secretary? I mean, it's like a 180 on China after a 2-hour conversation.
Well, that's pretty muddled. From what I understand, though, there were threats made by General Secretary Xi Jinping. Laura, you and I know the challenges that the Chinese Communist Party presents to our nation. I am counting on, indeed the American people are counting on this administration being tough and getting it right, making sure we protect jobs here at home from intellectual property theft, all the things that this administration did to put the Chinese Communist Party on notice that we weren't going to adopt the policy of the last 50 years, hoping and praying that if we just did a little more trade with them, did a little more commercial activity, that all of a sudden they would stop being predators around the world. We did that. We began this confrontation in a way that was important and protected the American people, and the American people.
Oh, well, Biden said you brought that up, Mr. Secretary. Well. Sorry to interrupt, but the Biden administration said they brought up their predatory conduct, that's obviously concerning to them, and the readout of the call, which lasted staggeringly 2 hours, said their strategy versus yours, I guess, is based in realism. Their China strategy. Your response.
It's just the other way around. It is a fantasy to think that you can talk to the Chinese Communist Party and convince them to behave differently. They know they apply pressure, they threaten, they bully, they often get their way. And the United States, for the first time in an awfully long time, didn't let that happen over these past 4 years.
Now, the sale of the CCP-controlled social media company, wildly popular TikTok, now has been shelved by the Biden administration. The Trump administration had forced that. And the Journal is reporting that the Biden administration said the review would help it determine whether the national security threat cited by the Trump administration continues to warrant the ban. Now, that decision came on the same day as Biden's phone call with President Xi. Coincidence?
That's crazy stuff, Laura. You'll remember I was on your show that I talked for the first time about our efforts with respect to TikTok. And I think your question was, should we let our kids use TikTok? And my answer was not if you care about the privacy of your kids and to make sure that your kids' information doesn't end up in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. That didn't change. There's no need for a review. It's very clear. And it sounds like they're headed down a path to let the People's Liberation Army have access to kids all across America. That is a horrible decision.
And China announced that it's banning the app Clubhouse, which is an audio app. It's supposed to be for encouraging free communication, and I think they hoped even for people who might disagree with some of the things that China was doing. But China's like, no, we're not doing that. So Clubhouse out as well.
Yeah. You saw that they banned the BBC today. This is a party that believes in Marxism-Leninism deeply, which means control the information, control the technology, and you can, in fact, control the people and influence their lives. Their efforts to influence us here in America, Laura, we've all seen it. It takes a tough, fair, realistic leader to push back against that. We did it, and I hope that they continue down that path. The early signs aren't good.
Really, really quickly, the Biden administration has announced that it will reach into Mexico and import the migrants that were forced to wait in Mexico who had tried to cross our border and claim asylum. It's about 300 people a day are going to be processed into the United States in the first few weeks, and so they'll be fast-tracked into the United States if they're called vulnerable people. Mr. Secretary, given the joblessness, COVID concerns, we have a lot of our kids not in school, in in-person learning. They're going to import people into the United States that are not here currently, who have been sent to wait in Mexico. Really quick response.
One of the things that led to the lowest unemployment rate in a long time in America for everyone, for African Americans, for Hispanics, for women, was in fact our immigration policy. And to allow these people to come in, almost all of whom have claims that will prove ultimately not to be valid for asylum, to allow them to come into the United States, to actually come grab them after we have lawfully told them, no, they've got to wait in Mexico until they get their hearing. This is something that is unprecedented. and ought not to take place. We don't need to allow folks who want to come here unlawfully to be able to come here and run around the United States without the capacity for us to actually determine who they are, what they're doing, and what they may be bringing in.
Most of whom don't show up for their hearings. Secretary Pompeo, thank you on both topics tonight. Great to have your perspective. And under the cloak of impeachment, President Biden's looking to turn the focus of the world's greatest fighting force to guess what? Climate and race. Colonel Alan West reacts to that next.
Their reputation, their insight.